Alright, so our goal with our busted up VFR right here is just simply to get it so I can ride it, test ride the thing. So today I want to make a list of what I need to do to get it to that point. Alright, so I'm going to need controls, little switches on both of these guys here so I can literally start the bike. I'm going to need brakes on the front here. The brake calipers need to be installed. I'm going to need the brake lever, the front brake lever. I'm going to need to secure this thing down somehow. I got to install the gas tank. Get that guy on here and hooked up. I need to get the cooling system hooked up. I need a seat that I can throw on there. I'd like to fix this pedal. I need to install the rear master cylinder for the brakes. I need to install the rear brake caliper, and I need to reconfigure the hosing on this thing to make this work now that I've de-linked the brakes. I need to reinstall the chain. I need to fix this shift lever. I need to install this clutch slave cylinder, and I need to install the clutch master cylinder up here. This guy. I need to get some new bolts here, or at least I need to get 2 more. And then with all that, I think the bike, I could run it around the block. And that's over a dozen things. Alright, but I also want to pull from my parts bin here the headlights. Take a look at these because somebody was interested in these things and wanted to know if they were available, if they could have them or whatever, and so I am taking a look to see what they even look like. Oh, there we go. So the headlights themselves don't look in bad shape. There is, oh, that's just like oil. They've got oil on them. But yeah, the headlights themselves, I mean, they've got some sun fade on the top there, some yellowing, but in terms of, they don't look cracked or busted. Even all the connections back here are okay. This shell, it's a pretty rough shape. It's cracked right there. It's busted up down here. It's busted up over here. I guess it's savable though, still. This is busted off up here. So yeah, so I think it was Rick. If you're interested in this stuff, yeah, I'm happy to ship this out to you. Send me some money, man. We'll ship it out. All right, so let's try and get this clutch master cylinder back up here. The other day I didn't even think about the fact that this has a hydraulic clutch on it. I'm not used to that. That's pretty fancy for me. My bikes are much simpler, the ones I've had thus far. Cable actuated. Well, this is kind of a fun little lever though. Maybe I can reuse this on a different project. It's nice and lightweight, aluminum. I like it. I do enjoy that Honda puts up a little arrow on here for you, so just in case you didn't know what's going on. Because yeah, we still need our controls, our little switches that need to go in here. So this guy needs to be back further. Anyways, I'm going to leave it like that for now because I'll leave it loose because I need to move it around. Once I put the controls on there, we'll probably need to remount it somehow. Alright, I'm getting the gas tank out, and this is a bit of a bait and switch or something like that because I am not going to actually mount this thing onto the bike today because I just painted it, and by the time you can see this list I've got, by the time I get through all this stuff, I will have scratched this tank. So I'm going to try and save this tank for the end part here, and then get it on there because that way I'll be less likely to scratch it. Well, this is a tight tight fit here. Is this a different size fuel pump? Fuck me. Does it fit this way? Okay, no, it lines up. It's just a little difficult going in there, that's all. There's a lot to jam in. For a second there I thought that because I've got a fuel pump off one tank and a tank off a different bike and blah blah blah. Alright, let's hope that seals down, huh? Alright, so I found my nuts that go on here. And I've also got a couple of these little guys here that clearly were on here at some point that hold down some sort of wires. I don't know. I don't remember what they're holding down at this point. So I'm just going to throw them on here randomly. And maybe that will make more sense later. But let's get these nuts on here and get this sort of tightened down. All right, let's hope that seals, right? I'm a little worried about it. All right, so after that, we've got our fuel line here. This sort of goes on like that. I've got my little crush washers still in here. Stick those on there. Yeah, and I would have painted the bottom of the tank. This is kind of annoying to me as well. I'm hoping I never see it, but I'd have to get new foam. I have to take all this foam off, paint it, and then get new foam to put on there. And this foam is in such good condition for the age of this bike. I just didn't want to mess with it, man. That, and it would also incur additional expense because of the foam itself, and then adhesive to attach the foam, etc. I just didn't want to mess with it. We've still got a return line here that needs to go in. That's on the bike. I've got some drain lines over here that need to be plugged in when I put it on, and then of course we need to attach it to the throttle body here with the fuel line. And we've got a couple electrical connectors here, one that attaches there, and there's another one that attaches there. We'll do that when we put it on the bike, but for now, I'm gonna stash this back away. All right, so we've got our clutch slave cylinder here. This is the old one, and this is a disaster. We've got seals and everything that are just tore up on the inside of this thing. So it probably is not in all that great a shape. I think I've got a whole new one. I've been running around the shop going, I must have a gasket kit somewhere, and then sure enough, I had this. I had already put it away. So it was no longer out on the counter and neatly organized, and I forgot I even had it. But yeah, what I'm looking for is this little green gasket here, which goes to our clutch slave cylinder. Alright, so we've got this cleaned out a little bit. I'm supposed to apply some silicone grease to the end of this thing. So we've got our little engine assembly lube here. I'm going to use that and stuff again. And I've got my brand new clutch slave cylinder. I just ordered the whole thing, man. You can order the individual parts and rebuild it, but you know, I'm a baller and whatnot, so I was like, man, I'm gonna buy the whole thing. Yeah, look at that. And the new one comes with grease already in the little reservoir, the little fitting there, so probably didn't need to put grease on there at all. So this guy goes in there like so. Yeah, get our little gasket, Stick this guy on here. Make sure it all lines up. And get our bolts out of here. Alright, there's also 2 dowel pins on here. There's a dowel pin up there, a dowel pin down there. Alright, get our little bolts in here. And there are no torque specs for this stuff, for these particular bolts in the service manual. They give a torque spec for the hydraulic line that comes in right there. That's it. And that's this guy, so we got to swap out this line from here, from the old one, onto this new one. All right, I'm going to take the opportunity to run this hydraulic line through our forks up here. I know I'm going to have to take the forks off again, but it seems like the bolt is hitting this guy right here. I'm going to take this guy out of here. Alright, so this bolt here is supposed to get torqued down to 25 foot-pounds, but even my smallest socket, I can get in there, but there's no way I can get even a swivel socket on the end of this guy to make this work. So I can't really attach a torque wrench to it. So we're down to the regular, closed-end wrench here situation. I'm just going to torque it down snugly by hand. Now in theory, we should be able to reinstall this speed sensor, right? I mean, that's some engineering there, getting everything, these things are right on top of each other, making very good use of space, man. Alright, so you might think the next step it would be to bleed that clutch system and get some more hydraulic fluid in this thing. That's not how I'm going to do it. I'm going to sort of wait till I've got everything sort of mounted up and sort of solidified on here. Get up my switches and everything on there. I've ordered some switches to go on there because the old ones are just, they don't even function. This switch here is like stuck, frozen. So, and that is our high beam, I believe. Yeah, I think that's the high beam over there. So that thing doesn't even work. But I'd like to go ahead and sort of button up some other stuff first before I start putting fluid in this clutch system. And that's about all the time I've got for today. So we'll see you guys tomorrow.